This is called Max Walton Beach. What I like to do is when I show you guys videos on realty rides, I want to showcase Whidbey Island as well and the Seattle location. But today we're focusing on one of our rides, and our first ride we're going to showcase is our 1983 911 Lc Porsche.
Matters, and we had muddy things up a little bit.
Hi you guys, and welcome back to another episode of Realty Rides. It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon here on Whidbey Island, and we're here at Max Walton Beach, which is kind of facing the Strait of San Juan de Fuca, and it's one of the most beautiful, peaceful, tranquil places you can find here on Whidbey Island. We're still in January, believe it or not, and it's actually a very nice day today. It's about 50 degrees. And we're here at beautiful Max Walton Beach. Remember in our first video I showed you guys Glendale Beach and Deer Lake? Well, this is another cool little resort area, and this is called Max Walton Beach. What I like to do is when I show you guys videos on realty rides, I want to showcase Whidbey Island as well and the Seattle location. But today we're focusing on one of our rides. And our first ride we're going to showcase is our 1983 911 Lc Porsche. And so here's a montage for you guys. So again, this is a 1983 911 SC. The SC stands for Super Carrera. And in 1984, actually this car is actually very rare. In 1983, they made only 3,600 of these for the entire world. So back in the day when they were relatively affordable, people really didn't take care of them as much as they should have. So quite a few of these, presumably, are no longer on the road. So that makes the car, even this particular model, even more scarce and even more, rare and more of a desirable model to have. And this is a, wonderful automobile. People always ask, is it reliable? Well, we've owned the car for over 25 years, and it has been as reliable as an old car can possibly be. We've replaced the tires. We've replaced a couple times actually. We did a one clutch job on it, one valve adjustment, tension belts. It is basically an analog car, And that is why the purists love this car so much, because it gives you the real visceral feeling of what it's like to drive an older model sports car. And it, you know, this car is dirty. This car is driven. It's not a garage queen. We've owned this car for many years. And, you know, I like all of our cars. I want to make sure we enjoy it. We don't want to just keep them in the garage and let them go up in value, or, you know, and never enjoy the cars. The cars are meant to be driven, and we drive all of our cars hard. We drive them year round. I don't winterize any of our vehicles, whether it's a car or a motorcycle. I just, you know, I want to make sure that the cars are enjoyed year round. But overall, this car is basically stock. Hasn't been modified, except for I put stainless exhaust here on the bottom, right there, to give it a little bit more of a throatier sound, and also to kind of give it about 4 or 5 more horsepower. Well, that's what they say, at least, but I don't know if that's actually true, but it does seem like it's got a little bit more power. But Erwin, what's it like to drive? Well, we're going to be finding out here in just a few minutes, and I'll kind of give you guys all the quirks of what it's like to drive an older 911. This is completely different than the modern cars. This is going back into a time where you really needed to know how to drive this car. Make sure that you didn't, because the engine being in the back, it would be very, very easy to oversteer this car and then get it off the road and get into an accident. What's it like to drive a 911? All right, let's take a look. So first off the bat, it's very, very hard on the steering. You got to get the car moving, and then the car steering will be much more manageable and much more responsive. But at low speeds, because it doesn't have, it's just mechanical steering. It has no power steering of any kind, no hydraulic, no electric assist. The shifting is the 915 gearbox, which a lot of purists will say, oh God, it's the one that always has the clunkiness and it doesn't shift properly. But my 915 gearbox has been performing great over the years. Once in a while it'll have a little bit of a grind. You just have to know how to find the synchros in order to shift this car properly. So you can see the 911 has its familiar 5 gauges. You get the tachometer in the middle, the speedo on the right, fuel on the far left, and the clock, which hasn't worked in many years. Again, I've owned this car for a long time, and this car is not perfect. It has scratches. It's got a couple small little tiny dents on the outside. It probably needs to be repainted at some point, but you know what? The car's got patina because it's been driven a long time, you know, for many years. Like I said, I don't baby these automobiles. I try to enjoy them as much as I can. But here we are, we're driving about 40, 50 miles per hour. Here comes a curve to the left. So the one thing you do in a Porsche is you never ever brake in a corner. So I'm downshifting to second gear, and I'm giving a little bit of acceleration as I'm making the corner. Now I'm making a right turn here. I'm not downshifting, I'm just staying in third gear, and I'm going all the way around. What ends up happening if you brake in a corner like this, because this car has no traction control and the engine is in the back, it could oversteer and then you'll lose control of the car if you don't know how to counter steer. So we're driving down a little road here, leaving Max Welcome Beach, and the car feels good. One of the nice things about older 911s is the smell that they have. They smell like oil, and the heat exchanger, which heats the car up from the exhaust. It is a car that has a lot of sensory overload to it, attached to it. Unlike newer cars where everything is quiet and peaceful and predictable, this car is anything but predictable. You really have to know what you're doing when you're driving this automobile, because otherwise you'll end up in the backside of a tree. And like right now, I'm driving the country roads here a little bit, and so far it's just a wonderful place to be, very enjoyable. In addition to the maintenance items I mentioned before, I always try to change the oil and filter every year. On the brakes, the rotors were replaced, but the pads I do myself in our driveway. I also replaced the pushrod tubes as they were leaking. The convertible top is manual and easy to operate. After 1984, they all became automatic electric tops. touches like the red seat belts, the chrome instrument cluster, European lights, as well as the fog lights were added. The wheels are stock 16-inch with 7s in the front and 8s in the rear on Bridgestone Potenza tires. The interior is in great shape with nice smelling leather seats with only a tiny tear in one bolster. And one window needs to be fixed. All in all, a great car to own and enjoy. So I'm driving, so here's the 915 Gearbox that I'm driving with. All these older 911s, the SEs had the 915. The Carrera that came out in 1984 and 1985, I think they upgraded them to the G50, which was a better closer synchro gearbox transmission. But this one still has a 915, and it came out back in the 60s and the 70s. And yeah, people are complaining about it because it gets a little loose. But mine hasn't been that way at all. And it's been actually a very reliable transmission with no issues in terms of grinding, shifting, clunkiness, and it's done its job. But I can tell you, man, being an owner for many, many years, this is my favorite automotive brand. I mean, I like all sorts of cars, but the 911 Porsche has been something that I needed in my life. And one way or the other, you know, whether I had money or no money, or whether I had success in my life or no success in my life, I've always managed to be able to own one of these vehicles. And it's just one of those things, situations where it just makes you happy to own something of this magnitude, where it is a treasured heirloom in your life. It's like having a nice old antique watch. It's like having a cool motorcycle. Well, the fog is coming back in. It's getting late in the afternoon. I want to thank you for watching another episode of Realty Rides. If you enjoyed this little Porsche video today, please like and subscribe, comment below. Like I said, I'm going to be introducing all of the Realty Ride vehicles here over the next couple of weeks. Motorcycles and cars and some other vehicles coming up soon. I want to get, as you guys know, I'm a commercial pilot, so at some point I'm going to get current again and get back into a small plane and do some aerial shots here at Whidbey Island. So, again, thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate the support, and talk to you guys on the next Realty Ride.